For most of my life, people thought I was soft, easy, agreeable, kind of woman who would bend if you pushed hard enough. And here's the part that took me 30 something years to understand. I trained them. I let them think that way. Not because it was true, but because it was safe. The strong version of me, the one who could look in your eye and say, "You're not allowed to come here anymore." She was always there. She was always inside me. It was just wearing the good girl clothing. And I am finally taking that off. There's a thing that happens in gardens that nobody plans for. A seed lands in a crack in the concrete. No soil, no room, no invitation. And it grows anyway, slowly, quietly. It waits for the right season and then it pushes through the stone. People look at that and say, "Wow, how did it become so strong?" But it didn't become strong. The strength was in the seed this whole time. It was always that strong. It was just waiting for conditions where it was safe to grow. That's what I want to talk about today. Not becoming someone new, but finally letting what was always inside you be seen. I grew up in a family where softness was survival, where having boundaries got you punished, where saying no made you the problem, where the safest thing you could be was being accommodating, agreeable, useful, quiet. So I became those things, not because I was weak, but because I was smart. The good girl lair, that was intelligent, that read the room and kept me alive in environments that pushed my sovereignty. It knew if I showed the real thing, the strong thing, the one with the edges, I would pay for it. So I softened myself first, every time. Before anyone would push me, I would bend so that the push doesn't hurt as much. And I want to be clear about something. I'm not ashamed of that layer. I'm not ashamed of the good girl. She protected me and got me here. I'm just done needing her. Here is something I learned that I cannot unlearn. The signal you emit decides who tests you. When I moved through the world as accommodating, as the woman who would bend, certain people read that as an opening, as opportunity. Bullies, users, people who take, they can smell who will absorb what isn't theirs. And I trained them. I taught them I would bend by bending first. But something changed. I started moving through the world as the real thing. Not louder, not angrier, just sovereign. Calm in a different way. And I watched the whole dynamics shift. The same people who used to push suddenly didn't. Same me underneath. Different signal. Completely different response from the world. Accommodating calm reads as an opportunity. So when calm doesn't. And nobody teaches women the difference. Somewhere in this, I started getting called difficult. And it stung at first because I had spent my whole life being called easy, being called sweet, being the one that made everything smooth for everybody else. But then I realized something. Being called difficult was the first sign I had stopped absorbing what was not mine in the first place. Difficult is what people call women who don't bend. It's not a description of who you are, it's a description of how much you have been giving and how much they miss it. And here's the part that landed for me. The people who trained me to soften were the first one to complain the moment I stop. That's not coincidence. That's the whole point. They didn't want me. They wanted the layer. And when that layer comes off, the people who loved the layer are the first ones to notice. They're the first ones to feel it because that was their supply. That was what was keeping them happy or validated. I always thought having a boundary would feel like a fight, like anger, like raising my voice, like a battle I had to win. But that's not what it feels like at all. It feels like a quiet clarity. No heat, no drama. Just, you cannot come in here anymore. Just as plainly as telling someone the sky is grey today. And the strangest part, the guilt still comes after every time. But I understand the guilt now. The guilt isn't a signal that I did something wrong. The guilt is a memory. It's my body remembering all the times a boundary got me punished. It's an old alarm going off in a house that isn't on fire anymore. So I let the guilt come and I let it pass and I don't let it move the boundary. So here I am in my mid 30s, taking off that layer that I have been wearing my entire life and watching the people who handed it over to me feel threatened with what was underneath it this whole time. Maybe I was the only one unaware of its existence. I kept thinking I was becoming someone new. I wasn't. The person they are meeting now was always there. She just had to wait. Wait all the years that it didn't feel safe. She waited using the good girl clothing. She waited for the season she could actually grow without being cut down. And she is not loud. She is not cruel. She is not what they will call her when they describe me to other people. She is just done bending. If you are also the woman, strong on the outside and soft on the inside, you are exhausted of performing the kind of smallness that was never really you. I want you to hear this. You're not becoming someone new, you are becoming visible. The strength was always inside of you. You were just waiting to feel safe enough to grow out from the concrete.